Alrighty. Everybody, welcome to the studio this evening, and we are going to get ready to paint. Oh, it's tiny over there. Let me get you a little larger picture of that city. Hello. Let's see, I think if I go here, that's the beautiful picture that we're going to be painting today. Some hibiscus grown in somebody's garden, not my own. But there it is. That's what we're going to be doing. Thank you for joining me, helping to make my Wednesday evening so enjoyable. And I'm just going to go ahead and get started with a few things. The paper that I'm using today is Bao paper. This is a student grade 140 pound paper. I've drawn, obviously you can see I've drawn my flowers on top of that, and what you can't see maybe is I put some masking fluid on here. I don't often use masking fluid, and I'm a little leery about it, but I'm going to give it a shot because I want to be able to keep some lighter areas back here and be able to really put a pop of color on the top of those. So we're going to paint over that. My paints off to the right hand side over here, as always, are my M. Graham watercolor paints, and the brushes today are like I normally use, my King art brushes, which I very much like. Hello to Suzuki, hello to Susie. Glad you guys can make it. Anybody else who's here, feel free to say hello. We're usually pretty nice here. And I'm going to paint, I picked these flowers, these ones over here, for a reason, right? I could have just picked a red, or I could have picked a yellow and had it been a solid color, but I like that these, and let me show you that picture again. There it is, and I think you guys can still hear me talking over top of it. These have that wonderful, that beautiful, like a yellowy gold, orangey color, and then it transitions into this nice soft pink color, and then into a deeper, darker red right in the center. So I really like that, and I'm going to try my hardest to replicate that somehow, in some way, shape, or form. And I'm just going to jump in by doing this. I'm going to wet and do these kind of one petal at a time, and we'll see how that goes. I think we'll get a little better result doing them one at a time and being able to put those colors in on individual petals. So that I can make sure I get that nice blending of colors. I'm going to put these in. I'm just going to go right over top of that. Shoot that whole thing. I can do it. I'm going to do these one at a time. So, Susie, you know, what's really funny is I normally dread painting flowers. Nothing against flowers. I love flowers. I just don't think I do flowers enough justice. But I went, okay, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to make this really nice. And this is going to work. And then just before I came on, I actually was going through some old paintings. I have it right over here of some flowers, thinking, oh, I'm going to get some inspiration. This is going to be good. I got this. It'll be no big deal. I looked at it and I went, oh my Lord, is that how I do flowers? I'm like, I'm in trouble. But no. Now, that's not how I'm thinking about it. This is going to happen. It's going to happen really well. We're going to have a good time painting, and I'm going to do a good job painting this as we're having a good time here. Everything is going to go well. At least that's my plan. That's what I'm hoping for. And like I said, I'm going to do these one at a time, and hopefully we'll get some nice variation in color throughout here. We'll get some nice, beautiful gradations from one petal to the next. I'm not worried right off the top if it's exactly right. If it's, you know, I'd never really worry about whether it's exactly right. You've all seen that before. But I want to get some nice colors on here. I want to get some little stronger areas. I want to get some little weaker areas, and just set up some really nice colors on here. So I'm going to start with something like that. And you can see it's just got a nice, soft, gentle gradation between all those areas. It's just a couple of different colors in here, really. It's a cold yellow, maybe way out at the tip of these. For me, that's a Hansa Yellow. And then the warmer color as we move in, a little bit of Gamboge, new Gamboge. Regular Gamboge for M. Graham is a little, what's the word? A fugitive. It's a little fugitive. And then some nice, beautiful Azo Orange in there also. Azo Orange, really bright pop of orange. And then that soft pink color for me is this Quiacridone Rose that I have over here. Let's see, Suike says, Susie, you're terrible. I've been waiting for a shipment from Amazon, but it got lost. Order was Artgraph Taylor's chalk in a bottle of acrylic paint. Ooh, it got lost. Have to order again. Oh, yeah. Wait, you guys are talking about... Oh, I'm sorry, right above that. Any art supplies this week? And the answer is almost art supplies this week. I didn't get any art supplies this week. But I did. I think I told you all before. I did get some gouache. I don't know, a couple of weeks ago now. I haven't quite been brave enough to use it yet. But I've gotten some. And if you all will hang with me as I'm doing this, after a couple of these, this is really going to start to look like something. This first one at the beginning is always a little rough because you're setting the tone, and there's so much white on the page. It's hard to see some of those different colors that get built into this a little bit. Nice pop of orange there, and then some of this. Ooh, I love this Quiacridone Rose. I don't use it for much, but it's a lovely, lovely color. It's really kind of stupendous. Let's see. So you can see you bought Azo Orange after watching this session and you love it. It's a beautiful, bright pop of color. It can be overpowering if you allow it to be, but it is quite lovely. I'm going to put a little bit more on here. I'm going to try to bring some of this color down this way a little bit and add a little bit over on this side. Everybody's watching my channel now. I'm probably keeping the art world, the art manufacturers anyways, I'm keeping them all employed, because I'll talk about something, or you all will talk about something here, and then everybody goes out and buys it. And everybody else goes, yes, somebody's buying our art supplies. That's what happens. Zika, what do you like about that Azo Orange? Tell me something you really like about that Azo Orange, because I'm a big fan. It's been on my palette for a long time. It's actually not the first orange I had on here, but it's been there for a long, long time. Let's see, this comes up. Yep. Just trying to get the form of this as I put my water on here. I always feel guilty buying orange because you can mix, but some are so bright. Yeah, but there's a lot of colors like that, right? That you can mix them. It's just so much easier and so much nicer, and you get oftentimes such a more vibrant color if you cheat and you buy pre-made. I'm certainly not going to say you shouldn't. I mean, you can make some pretty cool colors on your own, but come on, it's so easy. Very true. It's just so nice to be able to sit back and grab a color and go, I'm going to use this today, and it's going to look exactly the same the entire time, and you know it's going to be beautiful. All right, I'm just kind of looking. Am I even close with this one? I think so. I love the richness of the color. Yes, it is a nice, warm, rich color for sure. I have cadmium orange, cad orange, but it's just a little less vibrant than the Azo Orange. Interesting. Okay, so I haven't ever used cadmium orange. So I have a question for you. Dana's here. Hello. Thanks for joining, Dana. Good to see you again. The Azo Orange. Azo Orange. No, I'm sorry. The cad orange that you use, if I can ask, is it transparent or opaque? I thought there were a lot of the cadmiums that were pretty opaque. So I'm just curious. There, I'm trying to paint this a little bit. Let's get some more color out here. And you guys have seen me over the past few weeks try to do this a little bit more and more. I've got my color, and it's got this beautiful gradation on it from this cold yellow right at the end, this warm orange into the pink down here. And I'm trying on purpose to leave some of these lighter areas in here. I don't want to cover everything up. I want some of that area to be able to stay and shine through. Now, every time Seems like every time I say something like that, I want that to stay and shine through, then I just blast over it on my next layer, but I'm going to try not to do that this time. It's those lighter areas that help to give form and definition to what we're painting and interest in the final rendering of, in this case, this flower. So we just blast over that a little bit too much, we could really lose some of the nice subtleties of these flowers. And I want them to be nice and smooth and blendy and flowy, the colors in here. Dana, you like Azo Orange. You like its brightness. It definitely is bright. I like the brightness of it. I like the saturation, the intensity of it. When you put it on, it gives you a pop. You know it's there. And it's not too warm. It's not too cold. Right? Reds can really get cold or warm really quickly. Oranges maybe not quite as much, but I like that it plays well with the other colors that are in my palette. And to me, you know, more so than having that color in there specifically or having something that's the right value, I like those colors that are able to play well with the others in my toolbox. And so I think it's probably got a permanent or a pretty permanent home there with me. I'm just going to push some of these colors up a little bit. I think those are going to dry and look really nice. This already looks kind of interesting over here. We've got some darkening to do to give it even some more shape over here, but I think that's starting to look really nice. And this is probably dry enough. I can come back in and already start on this back, this petal back over here. Sudeka says, "Oh no, Susie, not another color. You're killing me." Sudeka, I think you're okay with the Azo Orange. And Dana, you would rather use Azo Orange rather than mix your own orange. Yeah, oranges are interesting, right? Because they're going to what you mix in them is going to be determined by the reds and the yellows that you use to mix them. So I know that I'm going to get a drastically different orange if I mix my Pyrrol Red with Hansa Yellow than I would if I do it with Gamboge, which is, I guess that's a yellow. And those are going to look drastically different than if I mix them with, mix that yellow with a bit of alizarin crimson, which is a red. Going to be totally different. So, yeah, if you want one that you know what that color is going to be and you want a specific color, or if you just don't want to take the time and you want the convenience, yeah, then pre-purchasing that orange is going to be great. Just tested. Looks like the cad orange is a little more opaque. Okay. Yeah, so cadmiums are, so that's right. Cadmiums are a little bit more opaque, and that's from, or traditionally it would have been from the cadmium itself that's in them. I don't know. I don't even know if they're allowed to put actual cadmium in there anymore. Probably not. I would think not. Isn't it cadmium that made who's the guy? The famous painter cut off his ear, went a little crazy. what's his name? Wasn't it cadmium that did that to him? Made him get a little loopy? I think it was. Oh, I can't even remember his name now. Van Gogh. Van Gogh? I don't know. Can't be Van Gogh. I don't know. I don't know. Dana says, what color do you mix to get terracotta? So, that's a good question. Just thinking about it, using my palette, if you're asking what ones I would do specifically, I would probably use a yellow ochre to begin with, and then probably mix that with a touch of, for me, would be Maroon Perylene. Van Gogh was kooky. I think all of those guys were kooky. The chemicals in their paints made them all a little odd. If you give me a second, Dana, we'll give the terracotta a little try. I'll have to grab a piece of paper from up here. But let's give it a try and see what happens. And I just hope what I'm thinking is terracotta is, is what everybody's thinking terracotta is. Tracy's here. Hello, Tracy. I'm so happy you made it. Thanks for stopping by. And I noticed today, I was at work when it happened, but Tracy dropped a new video today. So if you are a subscriber to her channel and didn't get the notification, you've just gotten it. You can go to her channel and excuse me, and see what she has just posted. Let me grab a piece of paper here. Terracotta. Let's get a bit of well, this is on the back of a sheet of paper, so it's not really going to blend anywhere. Perhaps I should get a different sheet of paper, but that's something. Let me get a different sheet of paper. Oh, okay. Looks like I've drawn on this one. A little bit of Maroon Perylene for me, and a little bit of yellow ochre, and to me, that's pretty terracotta-y. I guess I could mix that a little stronger or make it a little bit weaker, but to me, that's how I would do it. I think that looks pretty terracotta-y-ish, if that's a word. Dana says, you don't have good luck mixing oranges. Oranges are tough. Some paints are listed as cad-free. Yeah, because the cadmium is so toxic. It's so toxic. Okay, so let's just do this. Right, here's an orange with, let's do 2 oranges here. There you go. I've got 1 orange with a little bit of a alizarin crimson here, and 1 orange with Pyrrol Red and Hansa Yellow, which is my brightest yellow. And I can mix a nice orange that way. I can mix 2 nice oranges that way. But if I'm Paula loves art. Says, first of all, hello, Paula. Thank you for joining. Paula says, that looks pretty terracotta E. Terracotta E over here. I can mix these two, but the problem then becomes you better have a big puddle of that somewhere, because as you are continuing to paint whatever it is you're painting and you need more of it, then you've got to have more of it and more of it and more of it. And maybe I should have done a little bit of a warm yellow with both reds next to it. Let's do that. Let me get this little petal in here, and then we'll do that. Let's see how that looks. So I'm just pre-wetting this petal just to ensure that I'm going to get some nice flow in all of these colors. And it's going to give me a little bit more time to play with the colors. All right, if we can talk a little bit about paper here for just a second. This is cotton paper, right? And one of the characteristics of cotton paper is that it will hold your water a little bit better. It will hold it a little bit more in one spot too. It won't allow it to run quite as much as it will on wood pulp paper. But pre-wetting this will probably give me a couple of minutes longer to play with any of these colors, to move them around. However, I think they need to be moved around, and it will also ensure that the only hard edge I have on these is the one way on the outside, because we all know I do not like to have hard edges. I like nice soft edges for most things that I do. So there we go. We have some beautiful leaves. Ooh, I really like the way this one has that nice bright spot right there. I can just imagine this one curling back over, like it comes up and curls back down. And if we put some shading back over here for our second go around on these, our second little bit of color, I think that's going to come out really nice. It's going to be really nice. Actually, all of these leaves have a very nice look to them. I'm very happy with the way they're coming out. Let's see, Paula says, hello, Susie and Sudike. My first time here. Saw this live recommended. Oh, wow. All right. I'm glad that somebody's recommending it. I'm sure it's just YouTube, but that's okay. We'll take it. Paula, Live Action is here. Hello. Feel free. We're pretty easygoing, fun-loving group here. We all like to talk paint and color and paper and brushes and art in general. If you have a question for everyone in chat, just post it in chat and people will jump on it. If you have a question for me, just mark that. Just say, hey, Michael, or some such thing as that. And as I look up, I'll hopefully see it. If I don't, somebody will let me know that I have missed a question, and I'll answer it as best I can. And quite honestly, I don't mind if your question is about anything to do with my art, anything about my art journey, anything about my experience with pretty much anything. I don't try to keep any secrets. I just kind of let it fly as it comes out of my mouth, and I'll talk about whatever for as long as you guys want me to talk about whatever. Let's see. Okay. Ooh, let's see. What do I got here? The Da Vinci paint has an actual terracotta. It's PR102. which is Pigment Red 102. Pigment Red 101 is close to. I like a light red in other brands. Okay, so it's just PR 102. Interesting. A Pigment Red 102. I can see that. So what would mine have been? So, oops, I'm getting rid of yellow. I'm getting some of this pink back on here. This is, again, this is Quiacridone Rose. This is a lovely pinkish color. Love this color. So my terracotta here, which actually is drying quite nicely, I have to say, is in essence, so Da Vinci's is 102. Mine, as it turns out, I'm sure you're going to tell me that Da Vinci's is slightly better than mine, which is completely expected. My terracotta here, actually, it's it's kind of a nice color, but that's a mix of Pigment Red 179, which is my Maroon Perylene, and Pigment Yellow 43, which is my yellow ochre. So there's mine. The nice thing about having it in one pigment, or one, with one pigment, is the more pigments you mix together, the more colors you mix together, the duller your color is going to be. Let me. This is something I really like to talk about. So let me grab something real quick, and I'll show you. So this is this is in really bad condition. But if you go to handprint.com, right? Handprint. This guy has probably the most documented thing about colors I could ever find, right? And what's cool about this is you can see if you use a color that's way out here on the edge, ultramarine, and I don't know, cad yellow. Let's see, bismuth yellow, Hansa Yellow. There's Hansa Yellow. There's one I use, Hansa Yellow. So you mix these together, you're going to get a green that is kind of in this area, right? This is gray, right in the center, or black. So what you want to try to do is mix like this blue cobalt teal with this and get a color out here. So you keep everything on as far out on the circle as possible. And your colors will stay nice and bright and vivid and everything like that. Mike, I was just suggesting the Da Vinci in case the chat wanted to communicate. Absolutely. Susie, I'm totally with you. So if you mix a Quiacridone Red and a cadmium lemon, you're going to get an orange that's kind of in this area. But if you were to get cad orange, right, it's already way out here, right? I don't know where mine is at. Azo Orange. Azo Orange is not on this. But the more you mix, and if you mix a red and a yellow and a blue, you're going to get a gray. So you mix these, it's going to be somewhere in here. So having these color wheels like this, where you can see some of the colors that are on there, is a really cool thing to look at to see where your colors come from and why you might want to buy one that's a pre-made, maybe an artificial pigment, that pushes it way out to the edge and will allow you to have some really interesting color effects because it's brighter than a color you could mix on your own. Who's here? Gentana? Hello. I'm sorry. I'm sure I massacred your name. I apologize for that. Let's see. I've got 2 petals left to go here. And I've got a big problem because that is still wet. So I need to jump into a couple of greens here. And I'm going to start, and I know you're all going to go, whoa, take a step back for a second, because I'm going to start with Phthalo Green. I love Phthalo Green. Phthalo Green is one of those colors that's always going to have a place in my heart. It's a wonderful color, but it is bright. It does play nicely with others, but you have to add quite a bit of the other to make it play nice. So here I've mixed my Phthalo Green with a little bit of new Gamboge to make this lovely, beautiful green. And I'm just gonna put a base color on some of these leaves here while I'm waiting for my petals to dry. And we can come back and we can monkey with these leaves and finish them up and make them look, you know, particularly spectacular later on. So I'm going to ask, while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to ask, has anybody taken a crack at this month's challenge? If you have, that's awesome. If you haven't, that's fine. I will admit to not having done it myself, so I can't say too much about it, but I will be doing it soon. Let's see. That's no problem. It's the botanical name of my favorite plant. Oh, okay. Oh, because I butchered your name so badly. I butchered your name so badly. You're just being nice and saying, no, it's all right. Gentiana? I don't know. I'm right on time. Very interesting. You are right on time. And thanks for stopping by. Love seeing people that I haven't necessarily seen before, or if you've been here and I'm not remembering, I'm sorry about that, but good to see you again in that case. I'm just going to drop some different colors on here. And Gentiana and Paula, you're catching me on a strange evening for myself, because plants are not what I do best, in my own opinion. Somebody else might say something a little differently. I don't feel these are anywhere near my strongest things at all to paint, but I'm going to give it a try. And I'm going to try to do it in kind of the style I've been developing over the past several weeks and months, probably 6-8 months, a year. As I guess this has kind of been in the making. I've been trying to change a little bit. And I don't know if anybody else does this. Jennifer is here. Hello, Jennifer. Nice to see you. Thank you for stopping by. Make yourself comfortable. I'm sure everybody in the chat will say hello to you. We're a pretty friendly bunch here. Just saying, I don't know if how many other people do this, but as I guess I learned this from either work or school or some such thing as that. But as I'm going through and doing my painting, and those of you who are new to the stream, you'll get to see it if you hang around to the end. I do a little self-reflection at the end to just to kind of gauge how I think I've done. Not necessarily how others think I've done, but to see how I think I've done with an individual painting. And there are lots of times I will actually sit down and make some notes to myself, written notes or typed notes about the things that have worked well for me or the things that have not worked well for me. Just to keep a general log and to see how I'm doing. I will often refer to that days, weeks, months into the future, and I can go, oh, wait a minute, I kind of forgot to do this because I started doing XYZ, right? I'd started leaving a lot of white spaces in there, and I kind of got away from that. Or I started doing some really light layers, but 20 of them instead of 3 heavy layers, and I've kind of gotten away from that. So you can really help your own learning quite a bit. Excuse me, just a moment. Jennifer, I'm, if I could speak at all, I'm so happy that you are new to watercolor. I would like to encourage you to continue. I love watercolors, and I like to share my love for watercolors with people, and I will do whatever I can to help make things easier for you, to help accelerate your learning, because I want people to be able to enjoy watercolor painting, and I think that if you enjoy it a little bit more, not that there won't be challenges along the way for all of us, but if you can enjoy it a little bit more, have some fun with it, have a little understanding about, why things are difficult sometimes, that you're going to enjoy it more, you're going to get more out of it, and then in turn, we're all going to get more out of it because we're all going to get back to each other. So I love watercolor painting, so please take this time, please do, take this time to ask whatever questions you have. I'll do my best to answer them. I certainly have benefited from the help of many other people, and I'm happy to talk about my watercolor journey with you if you have any interest in hearing that. And I'll share with you things I think that would help you or would hinder you. I've talked about them on this channel before, but please use me as a reference. I love helping people learn to paint, and specifically learn to paint better, easily, more efficiently, tighter, looser, whatever way, help people paint in a way that's going to help them enjoy what they're doing that little bit more. Sudike says, Jennifer, I'm a newbie also. There are experienced folks in the chat, and Michael offers good advice. Marginal advice. They'll also get you booked into buying paint. Okay, so some of that is true. All right, most of that is true. New paint purchases not required. I think for me, if you're coming to my channel, the only thing that you need to bring with you is the ability to laugh at yourself a little bit, not take yourself too seriously, and understand that the journey of watercolors is fraught with interesting and complex goings on. You're gonna do some stuff sometime, and you're gonna go, oh, that's a mistake. Oh, why did I do that? And then 10 minutes later, you look at it and go, actually, that mistake looks pretty cool. And then there'll be times you go, why on earth would I have done that? And you really should be asking yourself why I did that. Since you're also relatively new, you find it hard to use the right amount of water. You're going to start with a hard question or a hard comment. right off the top. So there are a number of things that are going to lead to you using too much or too little water. And there are a couple of ways you can mitigate having too much or too little water. And I'm trying to concentrate a little bit. If you see me looking down and turning and lifting the paper a little bit, it's because I'm trying to get a good look at the paper to see where it's damp and where it's not, because I want to do this wet into wet. So having too much and or too little water on your brush is a very common problem, and we all have been there. Whoa. We'll all be there again. It's an ongoing thing. What can you do to mitigate that? It's a great question. Keep this handy. And tap on it often. Don't dunk your brush all the way in the water. And don't switch your brushes all around. Some common sense things that after you know about them, you're going to go, of course. But in the moment, you might not think about it. So if you are to the point where you have a brush that feels right to you, feels good in your hand, you're confident making a stroke with it, I would say use that brush for a lot of your painting. Because, I like the way that has turned out. Because you'll get to understand how the water stays on your brush. You'll understand how the water comes off the brush, right? There are a number of different components. The bristles of your brush are designed differently. Well, right, like this one nature's designed. This is a squirrel hair brush. This one is a synthetic hair brush. So they manufactured this to hold water at a certain rate. Nature designed this one to hold water at a certain rate. This is the brush. This is a size 8. I bet I do 80% of my painting with this brush because I've got a good experience using this brush. I know basically how much water it's going to hold. I know how it's going to flow off of the bristles. And I feel comfortable and confident using this brush, right? If I switch to its bigger brother here, same brush, same bristles, because it's, I don't know, 3 times, all right, it's quite a bit bigger, maybe 4 times larger in diameter and longer, it's going to hold quite a bit more water. So if I put it in the water, swizzle it around, went to my paint, and then right to here, I would be bringing with me a ton of water, and it would, as soon as I touched it, bloop, it's going to run off. So part of the equation of knowing how much water is on your brush or how much is going to come off is knowing your brush to a certain extent. Another equation is never going from your water, all right, here's mine, never going from your water directly to your painting. You should always stop. Not only do I have this, I have a sponge here that I dip my brush on. When I touch my brush to that sponge, it pulls a little bit of moisture off of there. Then I can go over to my palette and I can put water on the paint or in the tray, see how much water I have on my brush there, then move to the paper. And between those 2 different stops, I can kind of determine how much water is going to be in one particular area or not. And if there's too much, then you get on and you dab it off a little bit. Let's see. Jennifer says, I'm having problems defining edges for flowers. Jennifer, you're having trouble defining edges. Are you trying to paint wet in wet or wet into dry? You love the flowers. Beautiful. They're getting there. We got a long way to go on these, but they're getting there. Where am I at now? I'm at, oh my Lord. Every night we do these, every Wednesday, I look at what I'm going to paint, and I'm going, I can paint that in an hour. I can paint that in an hour. I know if I talk, it's going to take me a little bit longer. And the more we do these, the more we get to that 1 hour mark, and I'm like, oh, I'm only a quarter of the way done. Now what am I going to do? That's where I'm at right now. I'm like, I feel like I could be going for another 2 hours on this. Jennifer, you're having trouble defining the edges of your flowers. So a couple of things there. If you're trying to paint all wet into wet, then your paint is going to flow wherever the water is going to go. Right? So you can't have something be wet on the edge and just blow right over it, or let the water go wherever. Wet and dry, no sketch. Wet and dry, no sketch. Okay, so, ooh, you're hardcore. No sketching. So I'm not, my personal opinion, I'm not a fan of not sketching first. Don't let that dissuade you in any way, shape, or form. That's just me. Okay, so let's get that out right away. But I would still find a way to define your edges, or at least define one edge. Put your water on the bottom edge, and then work up from there towards the top. You could do several brush strokes and work towards whatever the top edge is, right? So you could, if that's too much water. If I were going to do this one, right, you could define the bottom edge of this. There it is. And then continue to work up wherever you see that flower is going to go or needs to go. I put a little bit of blue in here on that bottom edge, and just continue to work up. Then in essence, you're working wet into dry. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're working wet into dry, but you're doing it with the feel of more wet, and you're pushing the paper only to those areas where you want to get to. When you get them there, stop. Let those edges dry, move on to a different area, and then come back. So for me, I'm going to come back to this leaf now. I'm going to pet this area. So for you, you'll probably define some of the center of your flower, I would assume, and work out a little bit from there. And then after that, you can, do a leaf on this side, and a leaf on that side, and a leaf over here. And then by that time, this will be dry, and you can go back over there. And just work around, jump around from spot to spot like that, and allow those edges to dry up so you're not touching on the next go around a wet paint on your previous go around. And hopefully that will help you a little bit. Jennifer says, fantastic, I'm going to try this tomorrow. I'm gonna cross my fingers for you. I mean, I know it will work. it's just a matter of, is that the right technique for you? And does that work with how you paint your flowers? And for me, it kind of would, but it kind of might not. Okay, so now I need to, oh, wait a minute. Jennifer, what kind of paper are you using? Hot press or cold press? Oh, that would make a difference too. Yeah, hot press things will run more. Cold press, because it has a little bit of tooth in it, it will hold things in a little bit. Where are we at? Holy cow, we got 20 people in here right now. That's fantastic. I'm glad to see so many people have shown up. Please stop and say hello. We're all pretty nice here. I'll try to get to you. If I don't, I apologize. I am trying to paint at the same time. If you have any art questions, I'm happy to answer those. Eliza, thank you for reminding everybody to hit the thumbs up. I appreciate that. Cold press, Jennifer's your cold press only. I'm with you. I'm with you on that one. Okay, before I get distracted by all the jangly talk that's going on there in the chat, let me talk about what I need to do next on this. So I'm going to show you all the reference photo. Okay, right in the center of these flowers, it's really dark, right? And mine are really light right now. But I know I can put that dark on in one, maybe two coats. Probably I'll do that in one layer at the end. And then the veins on this are a little light. I'm not going to do light veins. I'm going to use dark veins, and I'm going to pull the color right out from that dark red, that maroon that's right in the middle. But what I need to do now is I need to look at this image, and I need to figure out where there are darker areas on those leaves so I can put a second layer of paint on my petals that will give this some dimension. Okay, so this is always a big thing, and I talk about this every week, is a lot of people can do things that can paint flat images, and it looks fine. I don't do flat images. I do, images that are somewhere in between flat and super realistic. So I need to figure out, right, if this is cupped this way, where's a little darker spot going to be in here somewhere that's going to allow that to look cupped without getting too far down into here where that red is going to go, where that dark red is going to go. I need to figure that out. And I think I can do some of that. Well, I say I think I can do some of that. I know I can do some of that. The question is, can I do some of that in front of 17 people on my live stream? That's the real question. So I'm going to put this in, and I'm going to take a little chance here. Actually, I'm not going to do this, right? I'm going to do this. I'm going to pre-wet this. So who's Jennifer and Gentiana. This is where you can really effect something that's interesting, right? On this second layer, I could put color in wet on dry, but watercolor paper has this weird quality that if you put wet paint on previously wet paint, you run the risk of getting a quick tide line. And I don't know about you, but I don't like tide lines. I really don't like tide lines. So you can either work really quickly and hope to avoid it, or you can pre-wet your area like I just did. And I pre-wet it, and I'm not quite willing to let this paint go exactly wherever it wants to. So I'm going to pull a lot of this paint out from there. Susie says, you can do it. Jennifer says, you can do it. I can. It's just, I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of confidence in flowers. Oh, you know what, too? I don't typically use these paints for flowers. I don't paint that many flowers to begin with, and I don't typically use these paints to paint flowers. I typically use my Daniel Smith paints to paint flowers with. So this is going to be a little odd here, and we'll see. Is that like cauliflower? Wait, okay, well, hold on. So you guys, Jennifer, hot brush will give you smoother edges. Oh, so hot brush will give you smoother edges. Okay, so that's true because by definition, the cold pressedness, the cold press edge will not allow as straight of a line. Is that like cauliflower? Where's the cauliflower with chocolate? Is always a good idea. It's good. So you guys going to get some chocolate ice cream. Aliz, this is Michael. You are good at flowers, only you don't know it. Well, all right. First of all, Liza, thank you. You always have nice things to say. Second of all, there might be some truth to that. I am probably my harshest critic, and I'm okay with that. Oops, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna move around to a different one. I'm gonna move over here, and I see that there's some more color here than not. And I'm totally fine with being hard on myself. Some people say I'm too hard on myself. I shouldn't do it. I shouldn't, whatever. I'm okay with it. I'm quite the realist. I think I know pretty much when I can. I guess maybe it's not, does it look good? Did I do a good job? It's, did I paint it the way I had it envisioned in my head? How about that? That might be the better way to say that. Aaron is here. Aaron Eno, welcome. Aaron, this is a name I haven't seen before. Just joined in, so sorry if you mentioned it. What brush are you using? Also, I find paint doesn't travel as much on hot press because it's so smooth. First of all, these brushes, let me get a bigger brush so you can see it more easily. I'll grab the giant one here. I'll hold this up. These are my King Art brushes. Come on, come into focus. Where are you? Focus, focus, focus. The King Art brush, original 90-20 series. Where's it at? You can see it. You can't see it. It's too big. Anyways, they have two series in the 9000s. The 9000 series, which is more of a rounded end round brush, and these, which are the 90-20, which are the pointed end round brush. I happen to really like these pointy end round brushes, so I bought a few of these for myself, and I haven't regretted it yet. But that's what I'm using. I use these 90-20 brush, and I've used this 90-20 brush from King Art for about 2 years now. I actually bought a large pack of these. It was a while ago, so you're probably not going to get this deal anymore, but I think I bought this 8-pack of brushes for $50. I'm going to say it was $50. And it had 8, like I said, it was an 8-pack of brushes. I broke the pack in half, and I have 4 of them over here that I use all the time, and I packed the other 4 away, and I haven't touched them yet. I'll pull those out on a rainy day at some point in time when these are old and worn and not working for me anymore, and then I'll always have, or not always anyways, but for a while I'll have some nice brushes that I like for a long, long time. I do think the price on these brushes has gone up since I bought them. The last time I looked at them and they were on sale, it was like a 40% sale or 50% sale, and they were about 65, 70 bucks, something like that. So that'll help you a little bit with these brushes anyways. Not a whole lot, because the price has obviously gone up since I purchased them. But so those are the brushes that I use. I've already forgotten your other questions. Let's see. You find paint doesn't travel as much on hot press. See, I think it's much the opposite. But I will admit, I'm not much of a hot press paper fan. I've used it, and I do use it from time to time, but cold press is kind of right in my wheelhouse, and that's what I use most of the time. And I have found that there is some very smooth cold press paper, but it still has enough tooth that will hold on to the water kind of the way I like. And there's some that's much thicker that has a bigger tooth to it, and it will act almost as though it's rough paper. I do use rough paper from time to time. It has its own challenges. Aaron, you're saying, me too. I'm a cold press person. Just let me stay with my cold press. That's where I'm at. But you know what? To each his own, or to each her own. I get it. That's one of those things that you should figure out and understand your style of painting and the things you like about it. That actually is one of the reasons why I picked this. I have somewhere. So I have one here and one here. I just kind of remodeled my studio a little bit. My blending is so soft and lovely. Liza, you know I love blending things out. I love blending. I used to just come back into the studio and just blend and do graded washes for hours on end. I love seeing colors just flow. A nice stripe here that's nice and dark, and just let it blend out on either side. But this paper I picked to do this painting on because I knew I was going to need a bit harder of an edge, a bit more precise of an edge. And this is the student grade paper from Bao Hong, and the tooth just isn't quite as big. It's not quite as deep, and so I could have a little smoother edge on some of these. The professional grade paper by Bao Hong is, you know, obviously if this has this little smoother edge, has a little thicker, deeper tooth to it. It's a little bit harder to handle for edges, and so I decided maybe that wouldn't be the best thing to use here, and maybe I should use this other paper. But that's the good thing about having multiple papers and kind of understanding a little bit of what the usefulness of each is and the purpose of each, and letting each play to its strength a little bit. Some great questions, though. I love the questions. Wonderful. And again, I'm putting on some color here, right? I'm putting on some color. And what I'm trying to do is to darken up a couple of areas, start to give some dimension to this. But at the same time, what I'm trying not to do is cover up some of these lighter areas, right? I've got this nice light area here, you know, accented by this dark. I've got these two light areas here. I need to put a little bit of dark over here and accent these lighter areas. It's that light, it's that interplay of light and dark that's going to add a lot of interest to your painting without you having to do anything, right? So you're going to get the interest by leaving some white, which means you're going to get the interest by doing less. How about that? Let's leave it that way. Let's think about it like that. I can do just a little bit less on this painting, develop quite a bit of interest here, and tell everybody I meant to do it. It looks fantastic, but you didn't have to do half of the work. Let's see. Aaron says, I love the Bao Hung Academy. Can't beat it for the price. It's now your go-to paper. There you go. I didn't know what to expect from it. So I wasn't, I didn't have super high hopes for anything. But I will say I've been pleasantly surprised. It's quite nice. And I'm not convinced it's, the bargain of the century or anything. But it's nice paper. Now, I want to lighten that area right there. Just that little bit. Clean my brush. Make sure it's nice and dry. Just push it down right on top of there and let it pull a little bit of that pigment off. When that dries, that should look like there's that extra little lump, that little hump right there. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to look nice. It's also whiter than Arches. Is it? I'm going to ask two questions. Is it? And does that matter? I don't know the answer. I'm just asking the question. I honestly have not noticed if it is lighter than Arches. I do have some Arches here. We can do a little comparison. It does look lighter or whiter. I'll tell you. How about that? Oh, nope. This is Fabriano. So it's definitely whiter than Fabriano. Look at that. And if you give me a second, this is Arches paper here. Oh, it is. It might be a little whiter than that. You might be right. I don't know that it's dramatic. It's much whiter than... I don't know how much the camera picks this up. This is Fabriano paper, and it's much whiter than this. And it is a little whiter than the Arches paper. So, I get to learn something. You prefer painting without backgrounds. Welcome to the club. I paint most of my stuff without backgrounds. It kills my wife that I do that. I do it anyways. Let's see. I'm going to put some color right back here on this one. What's wet? What can I not put my hand on? I'm going to put some color back here on this. Now, this is this is one of these things here that we have to watch a little bit. I'm going to put some color back here. And I don't like to have these two areas be the same intensity in color. All right. If anybody who's been here, you've heard me talk about it before. Light next to dark, dark next to light. Anybody who's here for the first time. Hopefully, first of all, hopefully you'll be back many times, but you'll hear me say it. Light next to dark, dark next to light. If these two flower petals have the same intensity of the same saturation of paint and they're right next to each other, they might as well be connected and be the same thing, because we're not going to see it well enough. We're not going to see the difference between the two well enough to determine what's one petal and what's a different petal. Aaron, you're saying my blends are beautiful too. Thank you. Like I said, I used to just spend hours and hours working on it. I love to do it. I don't do that so much anymore, but I used to spend a lot of time doing that. And apparently it has paid off. So I'm just trying to move. This color's still a little damp. I have a little bit of time when I can move this around, or I can add a little bit more color here and there. Just to give this some interest, some definition, give it a little dimensionality. That's all I'm looking for. And I wasn't quick enough here. I've got a bit of a tide line. I can fix it with just a touch more paint. But I don't want to cover up that area all that much. That's a beautiful light little area in there. Stunning little light area. What's wet? What's dry? Let me get this big old area in here. And I'm going to try to do, let's see, if I come down here. Let's see. What funny creature is that, a cactus? Oh, I haven't looked up in a long time. What a funny creature. Is that a cactus and a bird? So, who said this? Gentiana. I try to have fun with the things I do, right? Not that this isn't fun. This is fun, but you know, just to be whimsical about things and trying to keep myself interested as much as anything, right? So from time to time, I should do it more. There's no reason I don't continue to do more of it. But I like to do things that are funny. And so, yes, this is... Where is it at? This was the first one I did. I've since smoothed out these colors here. So I was thinking to myself, if I were going to do a mashup about something, what could I mash up? And one of the first things that came to mind was a duck, because it's got a green head. What else is green? Cactuses. Cactus is basically in a neck shape. And so I did a duck body with a saguaro cactus and a duck head. But this is, this was a first attempt, just a thing, just to have some fun with it. And that's what I came up with. So it's fun. I did a cow wearing a blue jean jacket, which was hysterical. I think I put a video out on my channel of a flamingo with human legs. That was fun to do. I did a catfish with a vacuum cleaner head, right? And my thought was, well, what does a catfish do? Well, it sucks up all the stuff off the bottom of the lake or the river, right? Okay, cool. What else sucks stuff up? Oh, a vacuum cleaner. Let's do a vacuum cleaner catfish just to be fun and have, do something interesting. And so I did a vacuum cleaner catfish, and that was a lot of fun. So the flamingo was hilarious. Thank you, Liza. So it's fun just to do stuff like that and be a little silly and not take painting so seriously. And you know what? That flamingo actually was one of the first birds I did that kind of had the same style wings that I've developed into doing most of the wings on my painting now for birds. Kind of developed out of that that first flamingo, and I wouldn't have done it. I never would have painted a flamingo. It's not something I would normally paint, but I wanted to do it because I thought it was a laugh, and now I've actually got a greater appreciation for painting flamingos. I learned something along the way, and I've incorporated that into some of my normal painting techniques. So to me, it was a win-win-win-win-win, right? It was a win all the way around. All right, I'm going to, give me just a touch of that. I'm going to put a couple of dark lines on a couple things here. Maybe this is really bent over right up here in the corner. Of course, I can't. Come on, give me some of this ultramarine. Probably what I should do is mix in a little bit of purple into this yellow. That would probably be the best idea. Give me, this is Cobalt Violet. I'll gray that down a little bit, and we'll just turn that. The stamen just came alive over here, over here. It's going to get there. So that's going to get a layer of paint on it just itself, right? That one I want to make stand out nice and strong. And I want to get, there are a couple of areas in here before I get too far along that I know I want to be a bit darker. And I'm going to use a bit of this purple underneath there. Should look like maybe it's in a bit of shadow. That might be a bit too much. Let me drop just a little bit of yellow in there. Oh, I like that better. There's another one of these over here that I can just drop some of that purple into. Just a couple of areas where, wherever I think these are just curling over that little bit. It doesn't have to be a whole lot. Oh, I got to do this whole petal over here. I missed a whole petal. How did I do that? I think I missed one here too. I knew this one though. Let's see, maybe this is down in the corner. This is hanging out back there. This is a little darker. Stamen are your stamen are your nemesis. Your nemesis. Well, we'll see if we can help you out with your nemesis. Get you back on the straight and narrow and painting along smoothly, vanquishing your nemesis. I think vanquishing your nemesis would be good. All right, so if I just put a little color in the tips of a couple of these, it should look like these aren't quite as fresh maybe as we had hoped they were to begin with, and maybe they've been on the vine a little bit, just a little bit longer than we think, and it's going to give a lot of interest to the painting because it's going to make it a little bit more believable. So this is something I determined, I figured out, I learned about. And when I was painting some All right, here's another thing I don't normally paint, but I decided to paint because I thought it'd be fun, were banana leaves. I painted some banana leaves. And I got done with the banana leaves, and the banana leaves looked fine. They looked a little too fine, if that makes any sense. And so I put a little brown on the edges, and all of a sudden it brought all of them to life. You're like, holy cow! Now I understand that. Now that's a banana leaf that has been out in the wind, and maybe it's a little broken. There's some damage to it, and it's turned a little bit. Turned a little bit brown in a few places, so worked out great. And again, it was a great opportunity to understand what the paints were doing in relation to everything else, and to learn a little bit. Holy cow! Let's see, Jennifer Cox. Oh, need to do alligator with cowboy boots. Wait a minute. I have cowboy boots. I don't have alligator cowboy boots. Do I need to get alligator cowboy boots? Dick Blick in the U.S. Just, well... Let's see. Aaron. Oh, Aaron, you're in Canada. And you're staying. And it's unfortunate because your dollar is a little behind at the moment. I get it. That's okay. Give the U.S. time. We'll catch up to being behind. Let's see. I'm going to put a little line right here and a little line here. And I'm just going to let these get a little bit of color set down. And I'm going to blend these way out. Just nip them ever so much to get rid of that hard line that's on there. This is the point. This is the point in the painting where I'm like, oh, we're close. We're getting there. It's looking good. And I want to charge ahead. And really what I need to do is relax for a little bit. Enjoy the process. Continue to going with what we're doing. We're doing everything right here. It's looking good. They're actually starting to come to life if you look at them. In my humble opinion, right, they're starting to come to life. Give a little bit stronger here. Let's make sure this is in front of what's behind that. There we go. Just need to make sure our colors are going to be right. Now I do a lot of going back into my water, cleaning my brush, tapping my brush off. As I do these different blends, I'm very conscious. I'm doing it as I'm yammering away and trying to paint at the same time. But I'm very conscious about trying to keep the right amount of moisture on here so that when I go and I touch into one of these lines, I can pull it out with some pretty good confidence that it's going to be just about what I want it to be. Just about what I want that to be. Some of these are a little better than others. Let's see, all this in the center here is going to get deep red. So really what I need to look at is what's out here. I want to come out here and I want to enhance this a little bit. Maybe just a little touch of different red in there. Aaron, are my petals still wet or damp, or are we just blending the wet into the previous wet? I'm trying to, if I'm working on one petal, everything's going to be wet. Once I move away from it, when I moved back to this one to put that little bit on there, this was dry. This one that I just did is still wet. It's to a point now that I shouldn't touch it. I didn't blend this all the way to the edge. I could just barely My brush is almost dry, I can just barely pick up the edge. I shouldn't touch this again until it's totally dry, or I'm going to risk getting a back run, or I'm going to risk, I don't know, blowing out the color that's in there. It's going to be weird if I go back into it when it's wet. But this one here, dry. That one's still damp. I can't go back to that one yet. Yeah, it's a danger zone. Let's see. Liza says, Sadiqa, we're trying to find a travel destination for the winter, and so far we can't afford it, so we're kind of sad here today. Liza, why don't you just come out here? Come out to the central coast of California. There's a place for you. We love having tourists. My little neck of the woods out here in California. We are right on the Pacific Ocean, and our unofficial town motto is that this is where summer goes to winter, because our winters are nice and sunny, reasonably warm. They're going to be much warmer than your winters and better than any place around here. So just think about that. Out here, Central Coast in California is where summer goes to winter. If any of you are Oprah fans, I know Oprah's not really in the news all that much anymore. I get that. But Oprah has a house just down the road a piece in Santa Barbara. Thank you for your kind offer. Oprah has a place down in Santa Barbara that she used to live at almost year-round. But she would come up to the next town inland from here, San Luis Obispo, and she claims that San Luis Obispo is the happiest place in America. How about that? So we've got that going for us, you know, happiest place in America right here. I will say, it's a pretty spectacular place. You wondered where Oprah went. I quite honestly haven't heard anything about her in a long time, so I don't know if she still has a house in Santa Barbara or if she still lives there or whatnot, but she used to be there for a long, long time. Okay, all right. So we're getting somewhere with most of these. I'm going to do a little bit. I'm going to come over and do a little bit over here. What do I need to do on this one? I need to imagine what leaf is in front and what leaf is behind. This looks like it goes behind this one, but it's in front of that one. So let's paint it that way. Now she's in Hawaii. Okay. That would explain why I haven't heard from her in a long time. Not that I haven't heard from her, because I never heard from her, but she's never in our news anymore because she's not here. In Hawaii. Well, it must be nice. I've been to Hawaii once. Has anybody else been to Hawaii? The link needs deepening. The pink needs deepening. The link. I've been to Hawaii once and hated it. Not because I didn't like Hawaii, but on the trip there, I got the flu. I was laid up in bed. It's 8,000 degrees. I felt terrible. I couldn't get comfortable because it's 8,000 degrees. Meanwhile, the rest of my family's out snorkeling and doing all these fun activities, and I can't even stand up and walk around because I feel terrible. It was so horrible. Oh, it was terrible. Okay, so we've got some coolness going on here. Let me see if I can finish up a couple of these Leaves, not petals. That didn't work well. That's still a little bit wet. So we're going to skip and come down here. I did get to go to a luau while I was there. I started feeling better at the end of the week. I was there, and I will say it was pretty lovely the time I was there. It was pretty stellar. I would go back. I don't know that I'm ever going to go back, but I would go back. It's humid and surprise rain. That was pretty much it. We had an Airbnb on a golf course, and you know, being an American male, I was like, I got to take flashlights with us. You never know. We might need some flashlights at night. And my wife was like, you and your flashlights, blah, 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 right? Okay, well, that's fine. I'm more than happy for her to tell me I'm off my rocker. But we got there and, like, it cooled off, and I'm like, I think I want to go outside, get some nice cool air at night. This will be good. Walked outside with my flashlight and immediately saw these giant toads. I'm like, oh my Lord, that's amazingly huge. And caught one and took it back to the family. And then they all wanted to come out and look for toads. And it was a good thing I brought a few flashlights with me because we all used them. Oh, Liza, green is your nemesis. I know green is not your favorite. Give in to the green, Liza. It's going to work for you. It's going to click for you one day. I promise. You're going to pick up your paints one day and you're going to inadvertently grab some green to do something or mix some green and not be thinking about it. And then you'll go, wait a minute. That's what I've been wanting to do all along. And it's just going to work for you. I have faith. Okay. We still have a lot to go here. We have quite a lot to go. I think I've been talking too much and not painting enough. I've been talking too quickly and painting too slowly. Maybe I should have been doing these the other way around. How about that? Maybe that might be a better way to say it. So I'm going to try. Well, I can't do it here. Where am I going to do this? I'm not going to try. I was going to try, like I did on these other bigger ones, to drop in some colors and maybe get a head start. I don't know if I quite have enough area in here, a large enough area to, come on, to get some good color in here. Who said something? Green and Paynes Gray. Wait, what are we talking about? Green and Paynes Gray. Green and Paynes Gray. Oh, for Eliza? Michael started that green with Phthalo Green. Oh, wait. I got the green is my... Sudike, given the choice between Hawaii and Montana, you would choose Montana. That's interesting. I'm obviously not going to say that's wrong. I've been to Montana. Montana is fabulous. I worked on a ranch there for quite a while. I loved every minute of it. I'm not sure if I would choose it over Hawaii, though. That might be a big ask. Hawaii or Montana? I did like Montana. Well, before I say I am, let me say it this way. I do kind of think of myself as somewhat of an outdoorsman. Although, the more I live here where it's, paradise, the probably the less outdoorsman-y I get, the the softer I get. I think that's okay. Let's see. Jennifer says green and Paynes Gray. You love green and Paynes Gray. Let's take a look at some green and Paynes Gray. Jennifer, do you have a particular color of green that you like with your Paynes Gray? I'm going to mix some here, and I just want to see if I can get something a little close to that. If you don't have, if you don't know off the top of your head, that's fine too. It's all good. Oh no. Okay, good. So I've got 4 greens here. Four greens here. I guess we could mix a couple of them. And I should just say I've picked my greens because I was going to do at one point quite a few landscapes and whatnot. And here where I'm at, in the summer anyways, I'm going to extend this out. I don't like that this ends right where that ends. I'm going to extend this out a little bit so this looks like 2 pieces and not 1 piece. But it's going to entail making that end a little bit darker. There we go. I think that'll work. Grandbabies are fun. I would have island fever living in Hawaii, trapped on a small island all the time. You're not trapped. You can take a boat-ish. All right, so let's see. Paynes Gray. Come on a little bit. Paynes Gray. And a little bit of Cobalt Green. Well, that gives us an interesting color. Paynes Gray. And Phthalo Green. What's interesting? Natalie is here. Natalie, have you been here? Okay. That's where the grandbabies comic came from, because your grandkids are here. Well, congratulations. I hope you are enjoying seeing them. Let's see, Paynes Gray and Olive Green. And my last green here, Paynes Gray. And this is the green that I might take off of here altogether. This is Azo Green. Actually, you should see the Azo Green just as a green by itself, which is pretty phenomenal. So if you have Daniel Smith paints, it's called Green Gold. Here in M. Gramland, we call that Azo Green. It's a fantastic warm green. It stays nice and vibrant. So there's mine. Cobalt Green, Phthalo Green, Olive Green, and Azo Green, all with a little bit of Paynes Gray in there. Let's let those dry and see how those start to look. And whoa, I didn't mean to grab that. I'm going to dial in a few stems here very quickly, and then we're going to get back to our petals. I'm trying to think, what are these called? The petals. Petals. And finish this up with that dark, that beautiful dark that's going to go on the bottom of these. We'll put some veining on these real quickly. I'll tell you how I'm going to do that, or my plan anyways for doing that. We'll see if it's going to work. Maybe. Maybe not. Just trying to get some nice colors in here for this stem. Maybe a little dark right in here on the back side of this. That's going to be lovely. I think we can actually make this a little wider here. It'll be a little bit better. Something down here. Yes, okay, you're asking yourself, hang on a minute, isn't that a color a little bit odd? It doesn't really match everything else. It's going to, probably. We'll get it to match-ish. It'll look fine. It'll be beautiful by the time we're done with it. Another thing that I've never worried too much about for Jen and, oh God, I'm sorry, Gentiana, is that I'm not a stickler on getting shadows exactly right. I'll get shadows exactly close, and that should be good enough because don't worry about it. There's lots of shadows everywhere. Okay, cool. So I got some beautiful stems, and look how vibrant those stems are. They're beautiful. They're nice and dark. They look great. So what I'm going to do, the stems brought everything to life. Got to get some of that color on the leaves. So I try to do one layer of color and then go back. I can't do that. That's still wet. Do one layer, get a base color, and then go back and really start to do things. But this is a small enough little area that I think we can do it in one coat. And I'm not, if I never have to go back and touch it again, that's totally fine. But bigger areas, I like to do 2 layers and get everything. And plus, those can be a little darker if I want, because they're actually behind and underneath the flower a little bit. So I don't have to worry about them too much. Okay. Whew. Having said that, here's my plan. I'm going to put some dark on here individually, and then I'm going to try to, with my rigger, which I don't have here, with my rigger brush, which is over there, pull out some veins on this, and you'll see how I do that. If I can get a rigger brush. Here's one. This one will totally work. So, oh, Liza, you are voting that I do more florals. I'm not against it. I'm really not against it. I don't have any problem with florals. I probably should work more in. I know you guys want to see more landscapes or more seascapes too. It's just, it feels funny because it's not something I'm really used to doing. But I probably could mix more in there. And if you all ask nicely, I totally will consider it. So what I need to do is be thinking a little bit about now. I just want to Bob Ross would have said this is like 2 hairs in some air, right? I just want to barely touch the edge of this to pull this out. I don't really want, if I get a hard edge on there, I want it to give me the hard edge. I don't want to add that hard edge on there myself. And then I can just really lightly pull some veining out of there. See, all it's got to do is kind of come out and please with a cherry on top. Uh, okay, how about if I call you Gentiana? I'm never going to get it. How about if I just call you Verna? That'll make it easier. Dana, you would like to see me paint more birds like a colorful parrot? Actually, I have 2 parrots that I've drawn already, and I was going to talk about things to paint for next time. Oh. Okay. I was going to talk about things to paint for next time, and you know what I have down here are things that are not colorful. I do. Let's see. How far does this need to go up? This needs to go up roughly this far. I'll tell you what they are here in just a second. So this now needs to go up roughly this far. All right. And Aaron's got to go. Aaron, being in the Eastern time zone, I'm zonked. So I have to sign off. Well, okay. Aaron, thank you so much for joining. I'm super glad to have you here. Thank you for joining in the conversation. Hopefully you will be able to join us again. I'll do my best to limit it to, not forever in a day in all of these streams. I really do only want to have this go for about an hour and a half because I know that there's so many people that have time considerations in the morning. I just totally screwed that up. Scheisse. Maybe I can fix it a little bit. Yeah, if I do that, nobody will notice. Nobody will know that it's not supposed to look like that. There you go. You get these lovely long. Aaron, thank you, Aaron. You get these lovely long threads on here, which are just stunning in many aspects. They're really so. Oh, I need to. Let's see, I need to do this one. Try to remember that these peak a little bit in the middle of the petal. Right in the center, there's up here on the top, there's probably a little bit more of a hump than down below, or than on the sides. But whatever we need to do, and again, I have this upside down. This is a me thing. I don't do well painting right side up for some strokes. There we go. That looks nice. I hope it looks nice. Again, this is where I'm not nearly as confident as I would like to be, but I'm going to try. I think this is going to work out. I think it's going to look good in the end. So we'll all work on it together and we'll figure it out. And if it doesn't, then we'll do another. I'll do 4 more of them until it gets to be something that looks nice. I don't. Let's not all admit I have a big talent for florals. Let's just not do that. Let's say I'm attempting florals and I may have gotten lucky on 1 or 2. Let's count this one as 1 on the first one. Let's see, this can come out. Come out that way. There we go. That doesn't look too bad. This is really pretty. Thank you. Thank you. So I should say, I'm blaming this drawing or this painting on. I hope she's watching. How many people do we have? 15. I blame is a funny term, right? I'm not. There's nothing wrong at all. But my youngest son has a friend who from time to time watches these live streams, and she said, would you paint an hibiscus? And I went, what do I know about painting flowers? I don't know anything about painting flowers. And then I went, well, you know what? I'll put it to a vote. And if everybody wants to see a flower, I'll try painting a flower. So, I would not have really done any of this on my own. So I'll blame this on her, if you like that. If it turns out good, it's not my fault. Yeah, Liza, you're really fun to see me painting something out of my comfort zone. And Verna, you're saying you couldn't stand to paint it because you wouldn't want to ruin it because it's outside your comfort zone. Yeah, I get it. But you know what? We have the opportunity to repaint, right? We can paint it as many times as we want until we get it perfect. Jennifer, you would actually hang this. Charles Reed says he learned how to paint watercolors by painting flowers. Now, I like Charles Reed, and here's my claim to fame. How about this? Before I knew who Charles Reed was, and while Charles Reed was still alive, and I don't know who runs his Instagram account now, and I don't know if he ran his Instagram account back then, but Charles Reed liked one of my paintings on Instagram. I was like, who's this Charles Reed guy? So I had to look him up, and he's an amazing artist. I don't know that I could ever duplicate some of the stuff that he does. He's unbelievable. Darn it, now I'm up painting. Oh no, Dana, I don't have a talent for florals. I have a desire to paint watercolors. Let's leave it at that. I have a desire to paint watercolors. I don't know that I have any talent for florals. But I'm willing to try. I'm certainly willing to try. All right, we can get some fun stuff on this one. Let's just pull that out. There was way too much water on this. Now we've got a little back run in there. We'll deal with that in a second. I'm going to deal with that by putting a little more red in there. There we go. That's exciting, Charles Reed. Like I was on cloud 9 for about a week after I found out who he was. I was like, yes. I will admit that was in a weird experimental phase. I was trying. I knew that I don't paint, or let me say it this way. I know I don't feel as though I paint the way that Charles Reed does very well, right? And I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that. Whether I'm at this point in my life or in my art career able to do a better job of it, I guess would be a better question. But at the time, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to experiment and try a few different things, and I guess that painting worked. You think I'm just not interested in florals? So here's the problem with florals, and it's not a problem, right? One of the things that you paint, that everybody does, I think, right, is we like to paint those things that are around us, right? If you've got beautiful countryside, you're probably going to find a way to paint some beautiful countryside somewhere. If you've got this unbelievable garden, you're going to paint your unbelievable garden somehow. We've got, like a gazillion birds here where I live. It's a bird, the whole town is a bird sanctuary, right? We've got these wonderful, beautiful birds here. And so I started painting birds a long time ago and fell in love with painting birds. And I think I've just never left that comfort zone. It's not an excuse for anything. It's just an explanation on how I got to where I am. But I'll tell you what, put in the chat or put in the comments down below. If you put in the comments down below, I won't be able to forget it. Or put it in Discord for anybody who's there. The flowers that you would like to see me attempt, and I will consider making an attempt on those. I am going to caveat that by saying I do kind of want to look at the flowers first and know what they are. Kind of get an idea of the form and the flow of them before I just commit to doing flowers. All right, that one's pretty much done. We've got that stamen in the middle, a peony. Peony. That didn't take long to come up with that. It was not enough time. Jennifer says, please help you understand abstract painting. That one, I don't know if I'm going to be able to help you understand abstract painting. I'm not much of an abstract painter. Oh, passion flower. Okay, I do like passion flowers. Abstract painting, I'm not sure I could be too much help with. Oh, that's terrible. That's too big. That's too wide. Come on, a little bit more paint in there. I just don't feel like I have the grasp of what these petals really, the real feel of these. Like, I feel like, particularly because I have birds, all right, I feel like I have a grasp of, I'm just trying to explain, I'm not explaining away. I feel like I have a grasp for birds and the way their bodies are formed and look and why they're a certain way, the underlying structure. And I feel as though I can easily, I'm not going to shy away from that. It's one of the reasons I paint them, is because I'm comfortable painting them. I can easily paint birds because I understand birds a bit more. Flowers, to me, are something that's a little bit more out there, a little bit more a little bit harder to understand for me, and it's a bit more difficult. But yeah, I love a challenge. I do love a challenge. Susie, you've tried reading about abstract art and it confounds you. I don't know that it confounds me. I just don't understand the draw to it. To me, it doesn't have the life. Most abstracts to me just don't have the life that something else has. When I look at it, I go, it's not a harmonious thing. It's this weird, amorphous kind of a thing that that I don't understand, and that's where my brain kind of starts to turn off a little bit. Because I don't get it. To me, it's not a normal thing. All right, I put a little yellow in here for two reasons. One is, I want to see a little color in here somewhere. Put a little bit of that red in there too. I want to, it feels disjointed. There you go. I want to get a little bit of different color in this green here, but I want some of the reflection of that yellow in there too. So there's some of that yellow in there that's purposeful. And then let's see if I can paint. I need a little bit more water. Underneath here, something that's a little bit bluer, more bluer. I wonder if feeling disjointed is the point. Oh, that could be. Yeah, I'm not the one to help you out with abstract. And I think because I can't help you out with abstract, I'm not going to be able to do any representational abstract paintings that are going to be worth a darn. But there are great jokes about Jackson. I'm assuming you're talking about Jackson Pollock. Yeah, I don't. That's a good question. If that's the point, is to be disjointed. I have a book. Actually, we talked about journaling books a couple weeks ago. Is that right? Did we do that here? Or am I confusing that with somewhere else? I thought we talked about journaling books. And since I started redoing the studio here, I found another book that I really like. And it's the first watercolor book I ever bought. And I've kept it for like 20 years. It's a lovely little book, and it has bits in it where it talks about all the different watercolor styles and artists, and I happen to know that there's quite a big section on the abstract artists, because, believe it or not, abstract art and watercolor have quite a history together. Who knew? Not I. Not until I read that chapter in the book. Come on, this has gotten a little too gray down here. Let's get a little bit more blue in there. A little up here. That curves around a little bit. I don't know, something like that. And I'm not even trying to mix a good, I'm going to say a good green here. I'm kind of allowing the colors to do. The leaf is lovely. Thank you. I'm allowing the paint that's here to do what it's going to do. I just want to get a little darker area in some areas and a little lighter areas in some areas, and I want to allow the green to be the green however it wants to be. And wherever I think it needs a little punch, I'm just going to use a little straight color, and we'll see how it goes and how it looks. This leaf bothers me a little bit. I might have to come back in and do something with that one. This one, however, I think is quite nice. And then I want to get this one up here too and give this another little suppin'. And don't forget, we still got the stamen to do up here. Don't forget that. It's got to get done. I've seen Rothko, huge abstract color block painting. I don't get it. I feel confused. Rothko's tough. Rothko is tough. I will say, and now that I said I don't get abstracts, but I will say there are a few. Who's the guy? Calder. There are a few Calders that I really like. Calder was most known for doing these giant mobiles. Maybe not most known, but very well known for doing these giant mobiles. And while I will readily admit I don't understand them completely, they are, to me, somewhat weirdly satisfying. These giant mobiles with, in essence, kidney shapes floating around. I'm going to ask the younger people if snapping it is cool to say. I don't want to say it and then have them look at like your own. Susie, you've seen Calder's mobiles. What did you think? Are they any good? They're interesting. Those have interest, and I can readily admit that maybe a lot of the interest is in the movement and less in the shape. I don't have a problem saying that might be what it is, but to me, those have some interest. Yeah, okay, so, yeah, right, so there you go. Mobiles do move and entertain a little bit, and that might be quite a bit of it, so. Okay, let's see what we got here. This comes up here. I honestly have no idea if these are the right color leaves for I almost said plumeria. Holy cow. For an hibiscus. But because these are the leaves that are on here, these are going to be right. I think my leaves here are going to end up being a little flat. Not really happy with this. Let's take some of this color out. Take some of that out. I don't want that to be quite so flat. That was too flat there. And I'm going to put in a little bit of a different color right back here. Just want to change this up a little bit. Don't bloom on me. Please don't bloom on me. This is quite a dark leaf back there. Michael, this came out so well. Thank you. Well, not quite done yet. I've got 3 leaves, 4 leaves, 3.5 leaves. And we got some masking fluid to peel off of here. Let's not forget about that. I'm actually quite curious about the masking fluid because I haven't always had the best of luck with masking fluid, so I'm curious if we'll be able to get that off or not, and in what condition it will be in when it comes off. Ooh, I really like that leaf. I think this one turned out quite nicely. I just want to grab a little bit right there. Lift. I like that one. I think turned out really nicely. Get a little color here. This is just going to break those 2 up. And then we've got this guy up here, which we can just add some dark in here, a little dark here. And come on. Doesn't matter. Just want to get this color change, this color gradient in there. It'll look fantastic. Good. Okay, I'm happy with that. Most of these leaves I'm happy with. I think they look nice. Okay. Bam. Wait. This is let's see. When I first saw Picasso's sculpture in Daly Plaza, I laughed. Someone got quite insulted. Oh, come on. Picasso would have laughed at half of his art too. So people can just go and kind of not take themselves too seriously. Okay, so that kind of came off. This, come on, that kind of came off of there. Actually, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. Now, I happen to know that these, if you look at these on this reference photo, I hope you all can see this. Those are bright red. They're bright red. This is great fun and truly well done, Michael. Thank you. Liza, thank you. You're always so generous with your praise. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's get another one in here. 5. I think I'm going to leave these other ones white. I think I like them being white. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Right there. There were 5 on each of these. Now the only other thing I can do is, and I'm going to clean this off just a little bit because I want more of a pure color than this. Throw that away. I'm going to have to grab another towel over here. Okay. I can grab some of this color and you don't know how you're supposed to enjoy it when you don't know what it is. Put a little bit of color on this stamen. Not too much. I might have a little too much on there. In fact, I'm positive I have a little too much on there. We're going to take just a bit off. Give a little blend on the rest. I just want it to have a vibrant color. Right? That first layer has dried and muted a little bit. I want a nice vibrant color in there. Look at the difference between the two. That looks like this crazy, the plant that it is, right? It looks like it is. Let's let that do its thing here. There. And this one. Liza, you would have put these in a vase. Oh man, I went just out of bounds. I got just a slightly too large brush, or it's too late in the evening, or something like that. Just a little touch of color here. A little stronger dollop right down at the bottom, and my color ran, so I can clean that up ever so slightly. And that's it. That's it. I am done with this one, such as it is. I will sign this to be done officially. There it is. And so let's talk a little good and bad here. Where's my pointer stick? So first thing is I'm actually really happy with the way that the masking fluid came out. A little concerned about it. Okay, I was very concerned about it. I like the look. I like the look on a couple of these leaves. They're turned up. They have some nice variation in color on them. They add a lot of interest. I think because I have this strong veining on here, I think I could come back and put, like a rib in these, right? A line, a vein in these, and it would stand out. I would only do like one in each because I don't think I would want it to go too far. Too many lines would get a little crazy. The other thing is I could go back and really darken this. I could really darken the center of these if I wanted to. And if this dries quickly, we might go back and do this. The more I darken the center of this, the more it's going to pull it in and look like it goes inward, right? It'll make it look like it comes over and drops in a hole. If I make this darker and just move it a little bit more to the purple side, it'll push that way back in there. Same with this one. It'll push it way back in there, and it'll make these look longer and like they come out and go across that way. Right now, I think they actually represent that flower pretty well, but they look relatively flat this way, and that's okay. I don't have any problem with that. But I think if I were to do this again, or if I were to spend another 20 minutes on this, that's probably what I would do, is I'd push those back down in there. Let's see. I don't know. That's about it for this one. I don't have any real things that I went, this really was a positive and worked really well, and I don't have anything to say this really was a negative and it didn't work very well. I think in general, it turned out fine. It looks like what it's supposed to look like in kind of this not quite realistic way, which is kind of how I paint a lot of things. Yeah, I think that's about it. So I'm going to call it there for the night. I will say that on Saturday and Sunday, sometime around probably 11 o'clock, in the morning Pacific time. I will be on Twitch. I'm still debating whether I want to port that video over here also, or store that locally and make another video about it, like a traditional video about it. If you haven't, please hit the like button down below. That will help me out immensely, and we'll get some more people like Jennifer and Verna in here, because YouTube will suggest to them that this might be a channel worth watching. If you guys want to see me paint something, please throw it down below in the comments, and I will I'll seriously take it under consideration. I don't have a problem painting florals. It's not really something I do a whole lot of, but I'm not against it. Like I said, I've told you guys lots of times, I like challenges. This kind of for me was a challenge. This is definitely outside my comfort zone. This is kind of how I envisioned it going. Yeah, some good, some bad. So I'm happy to take on different challenges, and I'll probably get better as we go along. I think that's about all I have. Jennifer says joined. That's awesome. I'm assuming you joined the Discord channel, which is awesome, from the link down below. I'm gonna call that a night. Where are we at? Oh my lord, 2 hours and 26 minutes. I've been up since 4:30 this morning. It's 9:30 now. I am ready for bed. Before I go, I just want to say thank you to you all for joining me in the studio on a Wednesday. I love my Wednesday live streams. That's all you guys doing everything to make my Wednesday enjoyable. Thank you so much for that. I hope you all have a great rest of your evening. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I hope you're able to join me back here again next Wednesday. Until then, thanks so much. Have a great night. Bye-bye.